Welcome back to our Early American Civilizations, which is our second unit for 5th grade. We are on Domain 2, Lesson 2, Maya Adaptations. Our objectives for today are to describe organizational structures of the Maya civilization and explain the ways the Maya adapted to the diverse region in which their city-states thrived. Identify subjects and predicates in sentences and differentiate between action verbs and linking verbs. Distinguish between root words and words with prefixes il and ir, and apply these skills in sentence composition, and gather relevant facts about the geographical features of Mesoamerica, and paraphrase sentences into note form. Our vocabulary: incessant is continuing without stopping, penetrate, to go through or into something, temple, a building devoted to religious worship or temples, culture, the beliefs, traditions, and way of life shared by a group of people, city-state, a city, the area surrounding it that governs itself, or city-states, trade, to give something in exchange for something else, or a job that requires special training or skills, traded, arid, dry and having little rain, indigenous is living and existing naturally in a particular area, commerce, the buying and selling of goods and services, game, animals that are hunted, an activity done for pleasure or sport, and symbolize, to stand for an idea or characteristic. Our purpose for reading is to read to learn how the Maya civilization was organized and how that organization supported the development of the Maya Golden Age throughout a very large, diverse region. And our big question is, how did Maya society adapt and thrive in such a large, diverse region? So we're going to do the same thing as we did in the last video. I'm going to have about 5 seconds on each slide. You'll be able to read through it, and feel free to pause the video as you need to take your time to read it. We want to make sure you have plenty of time to read through the text. And I will go through. So again, feel free to pause the video as needed. Okay, so our vocabulary or our word work for today is game. Some Maya hunted game in the forest, including deer, rabbits, and other small animals. Game means animals that are hunted. It could also mean an activity done for pleasure or sport, and it is a noun. So now we're getting into our subject and predicate. So a subject has two parts. A sentence has two parts. It's a subject and a predicate. The subject, it tells who or what the sentence is about. So usually it's a common noun or a proper noun. So it could be a general person, place, thing. It could be a specific person, place, thing. It could be a name. It could just be, girl or boy or whatever. But it's who or what that sentence is about. The predicate tells what the subject is doing, they did, or will do. So it's got action verbs and linking verbs. Action verbs show action. Linking verb connects the subject to the words in the predicate that describe the subject. So it might be like has, was. Those are linking words. It doesn't necessarily show an action, but it does link the subject to the rest of the sentence. So these are some examples of subjects and predicates. So the sentence is, archaeologists study the remains of past civilizations. So in this one, the subject is the archaeologists, and the predicate is that they study the remains of past civilizations. In the next sentence, they survive the land where ancient people lived. So the subject is they, and the predicate is that they survey the land where ancient people lived. Mesoamerica was home to the Maya civilization. So Mesoamerica was what that sentence was about. And as I was saying before, that was you see there, that is a linking verb. So it's not necessarily an action, but it does link the rest of the sentence. So that makes that the predicate. So was home to the Maya civilization. This book is about the Maya, Aztec, and Inca civilizations. So this book is what that sentence is about. And again, is another example of a linking verb. It's about the Maya, Aztec, and Inca civilizations. So now we're looking at the prefixes IR and IL. IL and IR all mean not. There are other prefixes that mean not as well, like non, dis, in, im, un. All of those are prefixes that would also mean not. Typically, a lot of times, prefixes can mean not. And some examples of words that use those prefixes are illogical, irrational. So not logical, not rational. So now we're talking about paraphrasing a text. In this unit, you're going to actually write an explanatory text that provides factual information on a topic. We will be identifying important words and phrases or fragments that provide specific facts and details about geographical features of Mesoamerica, and paraphrasing, which is restating information in different words. In order to take notes on a topic and use information from an author, it is important to use information without plagiarizing. Plagiarizing is taking ideas or words exactly or very closely as written by an author, using them in your own writing without giving the author credit for the ideas or words. So it's really important we want to avoid plagiarizing. We don't want to copy something directly from a text because that's taking and stealing an author's thoughts when really they're not really your own. So that is how we paraphrase, that's how we paraphrase a text. So this right here is an example of paraphrasing. So the sentence that was in the text said, Mesoamerica or Middle America was home to the Maya and Aztec civilizations. If I were to write a paragraph and wrote that exact sentence, that is plagiarism. However, if I look in the next part of the paraphrase, Maya and Aztec civilizations in Mesoamerica, I took important key words from that sentence and made my own words in a different order, so it's not exactly what it's stated. Here's some more examples of that. So we've already done the first one. So the second one, this region lies north of the equator in an area called the tropics. Well, we don't want to take that whole sentence. We want to take the key points. Paraphrasing, if you've noticed, is not complete sentences either. It's almost like note-taking, where you're just pulling out key information. So north of the equator in tropics. Mesoamerica includes a portion of present-day Mexico and North America and parts of Central America. So instead of writing all that, parts of Mexico and Central America. Mesoamerica has a very diverse landscapes, including dry coastal deserts and wet inland rainforests. Or variety of land types, including deserts on coasts and rainforests away from coasts. So notice how they took key information that they needed without taking the direct words of the author. So that is actually going to be something you're going to be working on in the coming days. So now that this presentation is done, you're going to complete your assessment that goes along with lesson 2. And we will see everyone in our next video.